That compost is important to our connection with our community.
Learn how restaurant scraps are improving future meals and the planet thanks to the magic of composting.
Whoa, look at this fungus growing.
Taking the classroom outside, creative learning in any weather.
I want to feel good. I look at some of his pictures.
Honoring Black History Month through the lens of Al Smith. His images reveal a rich hidden history of Seattle's Central District. These stories and more next on CityStream. I'm Linda Byron. Welcome to CityStream from the Danny Wu Community Gardens. At 1.5 acres, this spot is the largest green space in Seattle's South Downtown. The garden serves over 70 low-income residents. Most of them do not speak English. Danny Wu, a former landowner and restaurateur, donated the land in 1972. And back then, it was an overrun patch of blackberry bushes. Today, it is a source of pride for the CID community, providing both sustainability and calm in a busy urban setting. If you've ever tried gardening, you know sometimes you have to get a little dirty. Fortunately for us, a local nonprofit is doing the dirty work of keeping these plants happy. It's a hyper-localized composting program called Restaurant to Garden. Brian Callanan has more.
Do we need chanterelles tonight?
Yummy, 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 yummy.
Itsumono in the Chinatown ID neighborhood has made a name for itself by taking a scoop here and a few slices there of culinary traditions from around the world.
There you go. We call ourselves a Mukokuseki gastropub. Means like no nation, no borders.
But it's what doesn't make it on the plate at Itsumono that's lifted its popularity to a whole new level.
Watch your step.
Restaurant to Garden is a Seattle nonprofit that's walking the talk when it comes to making the process of composting even greener. It turns out R2G has unlocked a simple answer to a complex problem.
Be careful.
When sanitation workers pick up your food and yard waste, they have to burn fuel, which creates greenhouse gases, which impact our environment. But Restaurant to Garden uses pure people power.
That's everything.
Walking in to pick up compostable food scraps from Itsumono's back door. Then taking an eco-friendly hike about 2 blocks north to a spot that can put this material to good use, the CID's Danny Wu Community Garden.
Us localizing this process decreases the use of that transportation and creates a circular economy in this area. So
Amy Bettel is the executive director of R2G.
Open these bags into the metal buckets, and then we will start chopping the food waste.
And she knows, at first, this may look disgusting. But once this food waste is cut into roughly 1-inch pieces and combined with a bokashi bran full of essential microbes that can start a fermenting process, a layered delicacy is starting to cook.
This is the bokashi lasagna. We also use the analogy of dusting powdered sugar on a cake.
Then that cake, or lasagna, goes in a 5-gallon bucket and is allowed to break down for a few months before it's cycled through the 4-foot by 4-foot earth cube to become nutrient-rich compost.
We're going to empty as much of it as we can today.
For Bettel, this process of breaking down food scraps is building up Seattle's environmental health and the cultural health of the Chinatown ID neighborhood.
Us providing that compost is important to our connection with our community. It's multi-generational, it spans multiple languages.
As Iku Yang explains it, when he moved to Chinatown many years ago, the city gave him this little plot of land to grow fruits and vegetables to provide to the community. Thanks to Restaurant to Garden, he appreciates not having to buy any compost. And he appreciates the kindness of a younger generation, helping continue an age-old gardening tradition.
You get to see all the Asian aunties and uncles here.
Volunteers like Kevin Lee say working with R2G feels like being part of a family. It takes hard work, and there may be some missteps along the way. But Lee says finding the strength to dig deep and overcome those obstacles to grow something beautiful is what R2G is all about.
I see that and I see this with this resilience in the city, and I just love it how like there's so much spirit here.
City figures show businesses in Seattle throw out nearly 22,000 tons of food every year. Restaurants are working hard to make sure any edible food goes to our food banks. But for what does have to be thrown away, Restaurant to Garden is seeing a major opportunity. R2G is planning to build a new facility on King Street at the site of the old Asian Counseling and Referral Services Food Bank. The project will include a 40-foot composter called an earth flow to scale up operations and hopefully bring in even more food service partners.
There's waste in every restaurant, and there should be a plan for it.
Sean Arakaki is chef-owner of Itsumono, which, along with the Panama Hotel, are the only two restaurants working with R2G currently.
It's an honor, really. We're really glad that we could be of use.
And he's even able to work in some produce from the Danny Wu Community Garden in his cooking. A full circle win for the environment and a restaurant where now even the leftovers are getting 5-star reviews.
We're getting some return on our waste, which, it's not so wasteful.
As the old saying goes, when life gives you lemons, make some high-quality, hyper-localized compost.
All right, Issa, can you come here so you can sprinkle both of these buckets?
Or as Amy Bettel puts it, finding a way you can positively impact our planet and your community makes a lot of lives better, including your own.
For us, making it hyper-local doesn't take away from our contributions to that big picture. I think I have a lot of gratitude for what this organization is doing for the neighborhood and also what the organization is doing for me.
Volunteers are needed year-round for Restaurant to Garden. If you'd like to learn more, contact the Seattle Department of Neighborhoods. Next, there's no rainy day recess at this school. Every day is outdoors for these preschool kids as CityStream continues.
We are the everyday storytellers of this great city. We are Seattle Channel, a gateway to everything Seattle. The intersection between government, culture, news, and the ever-unfolding story of the city we call home. So follow your curiosity and come explore Seattle with us. Seattle Channel.
Welcome back to CityStream from the Danny Wu Community Gardens. As you can see, it's being a typical Seattle day with some overcast and some rain, and not long ago it was snowing. For most of us, that means it's time to go inside, but not for the kids at the Fiddleheads Forest School. Rain, snow, or sun, these preschoolers' classroom is out amongst the trees in the Arboretum. And I was fortunate enough to follow the Fiddleheads around a couple of years ago. And I gotta tell you, this is one cool school.
Good morning. Did you have a nice walk in this morning? Yeah? I'm gonna sign you in. What do you wanna do this morning?
It's late September, and the smell of cedar greets parents leading their children into Seattle's Arboretum,
I do need to go, Baba.
where they'll spend the next 4 hours.
Maddie. Think if we turn the page, are we gonna see her, you think?
You won't see any plaid skirts or pressed pants here. The school uniform consists of boots and anything waterproof. Instead of cubbies, kids toss backpacks into plastic bins.
You can say, Finn, can I have some space to draw the face on the tree?
No walls either, only a tarp offering minimal shelter.
So today, our question is going to be, can it float or does it sink? Float or sink! Float or sink!
Welcome to Fiddleheads Forest School, where everything happens outdoors.
Did they float or did they sink? They float! Hello! Hello!
This is the Magnolia class, named for the trees growing nearby.
How are you?
The group of 14 kids, ages 3 to 5, start their day by exploring between learning stations.
1, 2, 3. There's usually lots of creatures under here.
Like this obstacle course, where slugs and bugs delight.
This is a little baby wormy. Would you like to grab it?
And nature astounds.
Whoa, look at this fungus growing. We're not gonna eat this gum. Before we eat anything in the forest, we need to talk about what it is and if it is okay for our bodies.
This is a living classroom.
There's some that splattered onto my arm here. If we have a planned lesson, say about plants, and maybe an owl flies into our classroom, and that kind of curtails our entire day. Sometimes we talk about the owl and like what their body looks like, what they eat, what an owl pellet is. A-hiking we will go, a-hiking we will go.
With nature setting the agenda, every day is like a field trip.
A-hiking we will go. The Arboretum, it feels very big, so sometimes we forget that we're still very much in like an urban space. Hi, Crow! Hi, Crow! They're listening for things, they're smelling things, they're feeling things, and surely you can experience that in an indoor classroom, but I feel like it's heightened when you're out in the forest.
But you can do most of what kids do in a traditional classroom.
Finn, can you help me draw?
Whether it's drawing or doing a science experiment.
I'm wondering if we can show this snail kindness by leaving it in the same type of environment that we found it.
Lead us, show us. Let's go.
Asher's parents chose outdoor preschool after moving here from New York. And yes, they knew all about the rain.
You know, my parents ask me that all the time too. I think for us, he's gonna experience rain wherever, right? Like it's not something that we can shield him from. It's not something we want to shield him from, frankly.
Use special powers to zap them. I just stay here by myself? Okay, bye.
Joe Kim loves watching his son learn to be flexible and resilient.
The idea of preparedness is really important. You know, you can do anything as long as you're prepared.
Should I put it in the basket?
When Sarah Heller co-founded Fiddleheads 8 years ago, she wasn't sure an all-outdoor school would fly in a city where it rains 155 days a year.
We knew about schools in Europe that do this in the snow. They stick their kids on skis, they go sledding, they're out in negative temperatures. So we learned a lot from them.
Sylvie's doing some puddle jumping.
And yes, we did have people telling us thought we were a little bit nuts.
Not ready to go.
Looking at 3-year-old Aya, it's hard to believe she once avoided going outside.
I had concerns that she might not be a fit, and it didn't end up having any problem whatsoever. She loves it. She loves being out here. She's never talked about the weather.
Out of the way.
The benefits can be unexpected.
Our son had some balance issues, and within 2 weeks of being here, just from like running around on the uneven ground like all week, his balance like greatly improved.
Slippery.
Hikes offer adventure, but there's more going on than just play.
What do you think that is?
I don't know.
Look at that.
There's a bigger goal for teachers and parents, that connecting kids with nature early will encourage them to care for the troubled planet they're inheriting.
I do think that these sorts of programs do create stewards for our environment and the planet, and there should be more children in outdoor schools.
Unless wind or lightning make conditions unsafe, school is never canceled. And no, it's never moved indoors.
In comparison to a lot of parts of the world, we have very mild weather.
Even on the Friday before Christmas, the darkest day in Seattle history, and the 5th wettest day on record, the magnolias are outside, soaking it all in.
My car is quite muddy.
These mothers have a special relationship with Mother Nature.
My boots are muddy.
They've learned to efficiently strip away layers and muddy boots before loading up tired explorers and heading home to wash another load of clothes.
I just let my car get dirty. We clean up our seats later.
Another day in the forest, without noise, technology, artificial light. Another day learning in nature's sacred classroom. Fiddleheads Forest School is so popular, they're booked up through the 2025-26 school year. If you'd like to know when the next lottery will be, go to their website, botanicgardens.uw.edu, and search under the Education tab. Next on CityStream, recognizing Black History Month through the photographs of Al Smith. We'll be right back. Just down the block, you'll find the historic Jackson Street Jazz District. This was the place where legends like Duke Ellington, Ernestine Anderson, Louis Armstrong, Ray Charles, and Quincy Jones lit up tiny clubs scattered across 10 blocks. And one man captured it all, photographer Al Smith. Connie Thompson takes us inside Smith's extraordinary body of work in the clubs and in the community. It's an unmatched window into the Central District's rich and vibrant history.
He was always a photographer. He was an artist. It was like you were engaged in what was happening at that particular moment that he would take the photographs. What he covered was happy. You know, he showed people enjoying themselves. And when you look at his pictures, for me, you feel that. And so when I want to feel good, I look at some of his pictures because it's a nice escape.
A great photographer always finds a way to be in just the right spot at just the right moment. And that was Al Smith Sr.
He knew when to snap that shot. People are having a great time. He was tuned in to capturing those moments that brought us joy.
Absolute joy. I feel like, wow, I wish I'd have been alive to be around that scene. That would have been pretty cool.
You can just feel the audience. That's, to me, a very energetic photograph.
If anyone has a greater appreciation for Al Smith's work, it would be his son, Al Smith Jr., or Butch to those who know him. Butch says his dad took so many pictures because he truly cared about his Central area community.
He never would refer to himself as a historian, but that's what he was.
The nightclub ones are sort of the glamour end of things, the concert shots and so on. But his day-to-day work in the community, those are much appreciated.
It's different when you have a photograph. It gives a whole nother dimension.
He took photographs of birthday parties, weddings, oh, you name it. He was capturing things he thought should be captured.
He didn't just photograph Black people, you know, he photographed Chinese, Japanese, Filipino.
In the Central District in those days, it was just a melting pot and a mix of all kinds of people. That was a very special time in Seattle history. How lucky are we to have somebody who documents the history of a community that otherwise may not have been documented at all?
It's an opportunity to time travel and see how vital and interesting their lives were at that time.
If it were not for the Smith collection, there'd be a huge void for us in terms of documenting over the decades the Central District.
Redlining limited where Black people could own homes in Seattle. That was the Central District. But gentrification has now forced them out. Also gone, much of the rich culture and soul of that community.
It's just really important to have the history there so people don't think, well, yeah, a lot of Black people used to live here and now they don't.
I realized the historical significance And I don't want those pictures to just sit. But this is old.
So Butch, with the help of the Black Heritage Society and the Museum of History and Industry, are making a concerted effort to get Al Smith Sr.'s images out there as a way of connecting the present to the past.
Look at those dresses.
I know.
Yeah.
It helps to ground you, and when you're grounded and feeling connected, I think that sense of community is more conducive to building neighborhoods and the character of neighborhoods. Recently, we were having a discussion about how character matters in our community, and when we see these images and these photographs that capture that character, it just reinforces it.
It's a great way to memorialize what the Central District used to be.
Smith's photos are so captivating, they were featured in a 2022 memory study called SHARP, Sharing History Through Active Reminiscence and Photo Imagery. It brought together the city's Aging and Disability Services and the University of Washington. Seniors with early Alzheimer's or dementia walked the neighborhoods of their youth, using some of Smith's pictures to jog memories and discussions. One particular photo consistently got a huge response.
That was the photo of the parade. It was that big Cadillac with the Esquire on the side and somebody waving in the crowd. There was a lot of, I remember that.
When people can see these images and these photographs, it's defining. It gives you a sense of place about where you live or where you came from.
It allowed these Black elders to be seen in places where they hadn't been seen in a long time. You know, there were just a lot of great discussions and memories, a lot of laughter.
You know, he carried his camera everywhere.
The Black Heritage Society and the Smith family continue to push for Al Smith Sr.'s photos to be prominently displayed in new Seattle buildings as well as long-standing community landmarks. All this to honor one man's lifetime hobby and transform it into a lasting legacy.
He would appreciate it, but it's not something he expected. He said, I wasn't doing anything special. I was just taking pictures. He meant that. He was just surprised nobody else was.
If you'd like to learn more about Al Smith's extensive collection, the Museum of History and Industry has a wonderful look at his life and his work. Just go to mohi.org/exhibits and search for photographs of Al Smith. And we'll be right back. That wraps up this edition of CityStream from the Danny Wu Community Gardens. And you know, there's so much more to do here besides gardening. There's a chicken coop, a children's garden, and even a pig roast in the summer. If you'd like to learn more about this location and all of their year-round events, go to interimcda.org/Danny-Wu. I'm Linda Byron. Thank you for watching.